Welcome back. You're listening to Crossing the T's with Tyler Moss and Tyler Baird. And joining me right now is Braxton Turner, offensive lineman expert. I don't even know what position to say you play at this point, Braxton, because you've kind of been all over the board a little bit this year. So I've seen you at center. I've seen you at the tackle, the guard positions. You've been all over the place. But appreciate you taking the time this morning to wake up early and come join us here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So let me put you on the spot here, Braxton. If you had to pick a position, what position would you choose? Would you rather be the offensive lineman who doesn't get a lot of glory and the center, maybe the tackle? Or are you QB1 that Coach Coburn just hasn't quite given you the opportunity yet? Rumor has it you can throw a nice ball. What would you choose if it was up to you?
Well, I mean, I love offensive line play. I love playing line. That's what I've played my whole life. I've never really got the chance to handle the ball or run with it or anything. So I think, if the game was on the line, I trust myself blocking a guy. But I think it'd always be fun to take the ball, throw it deep. You know, Coach Baird, he was talking to me my freshman year. I remember at a 7-on-7 tournament about trying to work me in at quarterback with the freshman team or something, just trying to have a little bit of fun. So I think it'd always be fun, but I love playing offensive line, and that's where I trust myself.
Well, you've certainly done a great job in starting since your freshman year at Wasatch. In fact, this is a good chance for us to brag on you a little bit. I know these two guys sitting right next to me here, Coach Brinkhurst and Coach Baird, when you were a freshman, I had just taught you before as an 8th grader the year before, and they were talking about how you have a quarterback's brain. I remember that specifically, that you just understand the game of football so well, and that that makes such a big difference on the offensive line to have a guy that understands the game and can see what's happening in front of them. Talk to me a little bit about the progression of your experience, if you will, over 3 years now starting. How has your experience helped you to see the defense before the play is happening, and what kind of things do you see, and what kind of adjustments do you make in the game?
Yeah, when I was coming in my freshman year, my body wasn't quite there, but I knew that I could, mentally prepare for anything, be able to just get myself in that position. And then, so I think having that preparation where I wasn't able to just physically be the kind of player I wanted to be yet, but I could still mentally get those reps and mentally, understand what the defenses were doing. Now that I've gotten a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger over the years, now I have that, both sides of that. So I think it's really helped me out knowing, there's nothing at this point that I haven't seen from a defense. We've played odd front, even front. Some crazy variations of defense that, if a defense comes out and something we haven't prepared for all year, then I feel confident in being able to make the calls at really any position and being able to help our line on the field up until we can get off and get a timeout and try to work through it that way.
And I'm going to ask the same question to you, Coach, as you've coached Braxton over the last 3 years. What things have you seen him progress on, and his projections moving forward of how you feel like his football career is going to continue?
He was so smart his 9th grade year that it was an easy decision to start him the last 5 games of his freshman year. Body definitely wasn't quite up to snuff. In fact, if we do round 2 against Highland, assuming we win Hillcrest, you've got some redemption there.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Braxton was a little freshman going against some Polynesian kids, but his football IQ has always been high. It's gotten nothing but better. His physical has caught up to that, and every week I'm just like, I wish I had 5 Braxton Turners, or 10 of them, please.
Well, let's keep going down that line a little bit, and specifically let's talk about the Springville game that just happened. It was really fun watching from the booth after Wasatch scored on 4th and 5 that touchdown, because the man who was probably the most nervous on the field, at least from my perspective, was Braxton, because Braxton had to do the most challenging thing probably in football that nobody ever talks about, and that's the long snapper. And the game was on the line with that. So you guys, I just want to get your guys' thought on how that game ended against Springville. Just to reset it up for our listeners that maybe didn't listen in, Wasatch gave up a touchdown to Springville in the first overtime, but then blocked the extra point. And so Springville was only up by 6. Wasatch scored a touchdown, tied it up 27-27, and if they kicked the extra point, they'd get the win, is where they were at. And Braxton is responsible for the long snapping duties. And so you two just take us through that a little bit on that experience and what you decided you needed to do in order to get a win there. Because you said off air you had some specific thoughts on this.
Well, if you weren't a praying man before that play, you were during that play. That's for sure. The whole time I was just right there on the 30-yard line, just snap, make the snap, good snap, throwing a little bit of juju out there, and fantastic snap. And then after that, quickly I was saying kick. And Ammon Tuttle, he's a money man. He seriously is Mr. Reliable. He really is. So those were my thoughts during the snap and during the kick. And then if you see the celebration on the film, I was the biggest idiot. Usually guys run out there and just, with their arms out like they're flying or something like that, and then go and hug somebody. I am skipping out onto the field, and I don't know where that came from. And it's maybe because I ran already that day and didn't want to pull a hammy. I don't know.
What are your thoughts, Braxton?
Yeah. So Springville called that timeout. I don't know if they're trying to ice Ammon or whatever. And I remember my first thought was, I got to get a ball. Because my gloves have been on. I don't snap with gloves, so my hands are sweaty. It's kind of getting cold. The ball is a little different feel to it. So I'm like, I got to find this ball. So I go over to our ball boy. I get it. I'm getting snaps with Parker. I remember the first one was probably Parker's on a knee. The first one might have been 5 feet higher than Parker was.
Great.
And at that point, I was like, oh man. So then I just tried to calm myself down. I just tried to just put it through. Tried to just follow through, do whatever I could, just get it back there. Just because I knew that Ammon would make it as long as the snap just got back there. So a couple more practices, and then I just went out there, and then it was just trying to make it like practice, just trying to take everything out of it, no rush, nothing, just snapping it through. And then I think it was a little high, but I knew I got it back there, and then just trying to find someone to block because they weren't going to have any safeties back there. So yeah, and then I just tried to get a piece of the guy, and when I saw it go through, it was just a huge relief. I mean, just you could feel the weight off my shoulders.
It's a great point, because usually when they call those timeouts, it's always ice the kicker, but they don't realize that the snapper has just as much pressure on him that the kicker does. And I'm going to throw this out. I was at the walkthrough on Tuesday, and let's just say that the kicking and the extra points weren't great on Tuesday, and it had Coach Coburn, as he likes to say it, talked to the players in Coach Coburn's way about getting everybody focused on that. And I'm not going to lie, Braxton, that was going through my mind. Up in the air, up on the booth, was like, holy crap, like yesterday did not look good when it came to the kicking game.
Yeah, I mean, the walkthrough was on that same end of the field. It was like, I was like, this can't, no, like not coming down to this. But yeah, it was still fun.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit on you, Braxton, and talk to us a little bit about post-high school. I know you still have your senior year, which Coach Bringhurst is going to give a little bit of a fist bump that you still have your senior year. But talk to us a little bit about your goals past high school, past Wasatch football.
Yeah. So for football recruiting, September 1st of your junior year, which was just last month, that's when college coaches can start contacting me. So I've been able to have some good contact with coaches. I'm trying to focus on kind of that. The most contact I've had is with some Ivy League schools. I have an unofficial visit set up with Dartmouth at the end of November. So I'm excited to see where it goes. My goal is to play college football and to keep playing football as long as I can. I mean, not everyone gets that opportunity, so I just want to pursue it as long as I can. But yeah, so I mean, obviously the goal is senior year next year to try and. I mean, I have a great group of guys that will be seniors next year, and I think we just need to get the best team that's possible out there, and then just kind of see where my recruiting takes me and go as far as I can with football after that.
Well, Braxton, I know you are a fantastic student as well. You talk about those Ivy League schools, and I know you've been working hard in the classroom, and it's not an easy classes. You challenge yourself in the classroom as well. So is there a school that you would prefer to be able to go to? If you could pick from your choice, where would you want to go to play football?
I mean, my dream school probably since thinking back probably to 6th grade has been Stanford, because they give you that, I mean, top 1 or 2 education in the country, and then they're also playing Power 5 football. But besides that, I mean, Dartmouth, I was able to go there over the summer. Beautiful campus. I mean, great coaches. Coach Stanford actually coached with their head coach when he was at Stanford in the early 2000s. So good connections there. But I mean, really anywhere that's going to give me a chance to get a great education and then play a little football too, no matter what level. I mean, that's just my goal, my dream right there.
You know, I'm sure you're very aware of this, and Coach Bringhurst as well. My understanding from what I've done on the research is these college coaches, they've got a little chart that they'll look at, right, of height and weight and all that kind of thing with their players, and that's how they do things. So as far, I think is it 6'3" where you check in right now?
Well, yeah, we'll say I'm 6'3".
6'3", yeah. And I think based on what I've seen, a lot of those big schools like Stanford, is it 6'5"? Is that kind of what they're looking for, or is it? Are you hanging upside down every night to try to stretch yourself out? I mean, what?
I mean, it is voodoo magic, anything I can at this point. But yeah, I mean, obviously that's the thing that's going to keep me. That's going to kind of determine where I can play and where I can go. And I mean, I look at football rosters all the time. Okay, what's their starting center? How tall is he? And what So yeah, I mean, guys. I mean, you see guys in the NFL. Some of them are barely 6 feet tall, but they play with such a high motor. So I'm just trying to make sure that if I'm not the guy that's 6'5", I'm playing 10 times harder than that guy that's 6'5", and just trying to make myself. If I'm not there in height, I'm there in technique. I'm trying to be there in everything except for height. If I can make it to that next level and just try to stand out.
I really think, Braxton, to your credit, that's the perfect attitude, and that's the kind of stuff that coaches, they really look for, those intangibles, right? You can have all the measurables, but you don't have the right brain or the right heart or whatever it is. And I think you check all the boxes there. And whoever takes a chance at you, I think, is going to have an awesome player in the future, and they'll know that very quickly. Before we sign up, we're up against this a little bit here. Coach Brinkhurst, any last thoughts here, or Braxton, on the RPI? You guys have Hillcrest coming up first. We love talking about the path into the tournament, right? And I know you guys will say one game at a time, but how do you feel about the RPI so far this season, you two, just based on your thoughts?
I have found it really fun and exciting just to pull it up and see where. I mean, I think the highest we got was 6. And so that was it was nice to finally have Wasatch football gain a little bit of respect, because if you look at D News or you look at wherever they kind of mankind, I guess you can say, thinks you are based on past history, they always place Wasatch kind of in the middle of the pack, and then we make our way back up. And so it was good early on in the season to have some respect with this RPI.
Yeah, I mean, the RPI, it's always fun to go there. I mean, we'll be in class looking at it, trying to figure out, okay, if we win, what happens with these teams. And yeah, it's fun to get all these teams out there instead of just the top 4 from every region. I know that it gives everyone a chance, and I think this year you'll see it should be fun, a lot of upsets, and I think you'll see us make some moves and be able to go deeper than most teams thought we could preseason, and be able to show that this is what Wasatch football is about, and be able to make a push for the state championship.
All right, to sign off, we do a little would you rather game. So I'm gonna throw out 2 would you rathers. The first one, you guys both offensive linemen, or linemen in general, would you rather meet Saquon Barkley in the hole and try to tackle Saquon Barkley, or try to block Khalil Mack?
Oh man,
I'll let you answer that because those names were foreign.
Oh man,
Barkley,
the Giants running back, Penn State running back.
Oh, I'd whoop his can. I'd take him on.
What do you think, Braxton?
well, I mean, I've seen pictures of Saquon Barkley's legs, and I do not want to meet that guy in a hole. And then you see Khalil Mack's arms, you do not want to be blocking that guy. But I'd love to have the opportunity to block Khalil Mack. I think that'd be fun, awesome. Just to, no matter how it ended up, just to be able to say, sure, I tried to block this guy and did about as well, I think, as anyone in the NFL is. I mean, he's tearing it up, so I think it'd be fun to try and get a piece of him.
All right, last one. Who would win in a fight right now, Taysom Hill or Chuck Norris?
Taysom. Chuck, he's 80? Is he 90?
Oh, he's up
old.
there.
That just gives Taysom a chance because he's older, right?
He might break his knee, though.
we want to thank Braxton and Derek, Coach Brinkhurst, for coming on the air. A big part of the success of Wasatch High School right here, the offensive line coach for Wasatch, and then Braxton Turner, 3-year starter for Wasatch since his freshman year. We want to thank them for coming on the air. When we come back, we'll preview this next week in Wasatch Sports and also give you an update on Wasatch on campus.